I think that feels like a nice package there.
Yeah.
Wow, look at those phones light up. It's Felger and Maz on 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Vrabel thing yesterday in a column written by Ben Volin in the Boston Globe. I think he did a good job. It was a good column. Because there definitely is one thing to pick apart and pick at with the Patriots, and that is, while we all agree that Vrabel helped himself yesterday and the Patriots helped themselves yesterday and stopped the bleeding from 2 weeks of bad responses and bad headlines and bad developments. Yesterday was the first day in almost 2 weeks of this story that you would say they did more good than harm. So we all agree with that, but they could have done more good for themselves. And one of the things that undercut them is the parameters under which this thing was, was presented in the first place. In other words, the team just slipped this in front of a couple of writers, really sort of pulling a head fake on what they were going to do media-wise to keep most of the media out of the building. As Ben Volin writes, the headline says, when Mike Vrabel finally broke silence on Rossini photos, the Patriots coach hurt the sincerity of his message. And he says Vrabel wasn't on Tuesday's media schedule. Wasn't on Tuesday's media schedule released by the Patriots at 4:30 on Monday. So 4:30 on Monday, the Patriots release a media schedule, all the media outlets, about what's going to be available to you the next day. And what was available to them was going to be a couple of unnamed players to talk about them beginning their off-season conditioning program, which is a massive nothing burger. You're not getting Drake May. You're not getting superstar players most times. You're getting mid-roster players talking about getting going after taking a month off and the stretching and the weightlifting, and it's a nothing burger. 4:30 on Monday, they tell the media outlets here in Boston that's what's coming. And, writes Volin, there was no announcement Tuesday morning that Vrabel would be breaking his silence after 2 weeks in regard to those New York Post photos. It was supposed to be a sleepy press conference with two veteran players talking about the start of the Patriots offseason program. As a result, there was a bare-bones media crowd by New England standards, with several regular reporters not in attendance. Those on hand were notified maybe 5 minutes ahead of time that Vrabel would be speaking instead of those players. He writes that the way Tuesday's press conference went down, with a last-minute sneak attack on the media and strict ground rules established by the Patriots, doesn't sit right. He says, and Volin wrote, though appearing transparent, the Patriots did their best to dictate the terms of Vrabel's appearance. It cuts against Vrabel's message of accountability.
It's an excellent point.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's an excellent point. Vrabel wants to say be accountable, and yet in this particular case, they stacked the deck so that he didn't have to be accountable. They set up a situation where they made it easy on him, and he could run in and run out without having to answer a lot of questions and without having to deal with people from bigger media outlets like Good Morning America, which had the story on this morning. So they complete. It's what's the right word? Talking out of one side of your mouth and saying something on the other side, something different on the other side. It does it. And Vrabel's the one that preaches accountability. It makes him look bad.
Volin writes, the Patriots easily could have sent out a heads up on Monday night or Tuesday morning that Vrabel would be talking. Instead, they purposely chose a time and method that would minimize the number of reporters asking him questions. He says the Patriots also set ground rules on reporters that those on hand did their best to circumvent, and I will say to their credit. He says after Vrabel delivered his opening statement, about 2 minutes, 30 seconds in length, he did a side media session in which reporters were ordered to turn off all cameras, including phones, and were told to ask only football questions. So turn everything off. If you want to participate, only football questions.
I find this to be deplorable. But go ahead.
Thankfully, writes Volin, Mass Live's Karen Garesian ignored the directive and asked how Vrabel felt about Rossini losing her job at The Athletic last week, which Vrabel respectfully declined to answer. Reporters, including Mike Giardi, Dan Roach, and Dan Murphy, asked legitimate follow-ups. When the Globe's Nicole Yang asked about Vrabel's conversation with the Crafts, Stacey James chimed in that questions should be kept to football matters only. So why do you find this deplorable?
Because if the team is going to control what you can ask, well, then what the hell's the point of going at all?
But they didn't. What's deplorable to me, to tie in some of the things I've mentioned today, is a media contingent that is told not to ask something.
I understand this.
And then doesn't ask it, the Celtics media. Joe Mazzulla berates them early in the season, not wanting to be asked about three-pointers. The team does some other things behind the scenes that I know about, and the media plays along because they're told not to do it. That's what's deplorable. I think it's Stacey James's job to try and shape a narrative and control the message. He's just doing his job. The media does not. The media doesn't work for Stacey James and the Patriots. They act like they do. Not the Patriots media, by the way, but a lot of media act like they work for the teams. You do not work for the team. I don't work for you, Stacey. You tell me I can only ask a certain question. I don't have to listen to you.
Yeah, look, I didn't do what you guys did in your prior lives, but just for me, I'm more with you, Mike, in that the PR guy's just doing their job. It's the media person's then to ignore the PR guy.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So,
and then if they have to shut it down, they shut it down. But you don't get to tell me what I get to ask.
Yeah. So listen, I understand your point ultimately that you can ask it anyway, and I get it. I find, to me, that's going over the line of what a PR guy's supposed to do. The job description to me is different. And again, look, the world has changed. Back when we did it, there was more of a facilitate the relationship with the media, and you could argue with a PR guy. But now you can't ask this question. Well, you can't tell me what to ask.
And by the way, I think they were all just these crisis management PR firms. I think like this has all been being managed at that level. So again, I don't really blame Stacey at all. Like he's just doing his job. He's just another guy doing his job. It's the media that's not doing their job.
So I understand that, and I'm not defending the media. I'm just telling you, I think the teams go too far with this too, and it's not just the Patriots.
But again, I think the Patriots contingent are by far the best we have and the toughest we have. Stacey tells them you can't ask this, and
Karen did anyway.
Giardi did anyway. I forgive me, I don't know who Dan Murphy is. Nicole Yang did anyway, and even Rochi, who's hardly any rabble-rouser. So good for these guys. Good for you. And I don't think there's another media contingent in town that would exist. I mean, again, outside of Washburn, the Celtics media contingent locally here they do what they're told. And the Patriots media did not. But anyway, this is what was going on yesterday.
This is unbelievable to me. And again, I'm sorry. I look at the teams in this sort of case too, Mike. I don't leave them out. I think the fact that they are telling people what they can and cannot write is embarrassing.
They didn't say what you can and cannot write.
Or what they can and cannot ask. Embarrassing. Back when I was covering, they did try to tell me what you want. So, which went up my ass too. What's the point of having media if you think you can just control them?
But the overall point that we're doing this to be accountable is undercut by all these details.
The manner in which they did it.
It's undercut by the manner if you really want full accountability, let everyone know, throw it open to a time that the most media can be there and throw it open. And they didn't do that. It was a sneak attack.
It was.
So Volin finishes by saying the Patriots finally got Vrabel in front of the media and avoided the circus. It was smartly designed and flawlessly executed. The work, perhaps, of crisis communications experts who have emerged as the big winner in this ordeal. I'd say they were horrible at their job, but they probably banked a lot of money. He says, Vrabel finally ate the bleep sandwich Tuesday and said the right things. I think that was a good line because I think that's kind of what Vrabel did yesterday. He had to eat a bleep sandwich. Without saying it, that's what he did. He said, Vrabel finally ate the bleep sandwich Tuesday and said the right things, promising that everyone will, quote, get the best version of me going forward, end quote. And those photos with Rossini have nothing to do with me, you, or the fans. This is Volin writing. It's a personal issue between Vrabel, his wife, his family, and his employer. But the ground rules and the sneak attack on the media were Bush League and hurt the sincerity of his message.
True.
Great column.
Yep. Excellent. I mean, he really hit the heart of it. So, because again, we can talk about media issues and what have you. They undercut the coach a little bit. They made it tougher on him. And, they, especially a guy who sits there and preaches all the time, be accountable. You owe it to the franchise. You owe it to your teammates, et cetera, et cetera. Be accountable. And then they pull that.
But, again, I think it just as important of a story is that Stacey says only football questions. Karen immediately asks about Rossini. And Giardi follows, and Nicole Yang follows, and Dan Roach follows, who I would not have put on that list. And I love Dan like the rest of us. But, again, he works for WBZ and Patriots All Access and all of this.
Well, those are especially in a
good for these guys.
Yeah, and those reporters know they have the leverage in that situation. So what? You're going to get mad and then maybe pull my credential? Then we have an even bigger story because you don't want me asking the questions that people want asked. Go after yourselves. Like, they had leverage yesterday to ignore Stacey and then ask away about Diana Rossini in that situation.
No, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I agree. They asked the questions. I would instruct everyone to understand that they're walking into the Soviet Union down there every time they get on a Foxboro. The Iron Curtain is up, and you are not, you're allowed, if you transgress in some capacity, you're likely to be thrown into a box and sent to some mountain snow resort in Siberia.
The Gulag.
Yes. Like, that's ridiculous.
Back to your thoughts right after these words. Sean and Lawrence. Go, Sean.
You keep saying, I didn't actually watch the game, whether it's Patriots, Celtics, Bruins, whatever. Isn't your job as a talk show host to actually watch sports?
So I would say my job is to get you to listen.
That is the job.
Mission accomplished.
Take this job and shove. Felger and Maz, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
With that being said, I've had some difficult conversations with people that I care about, with my family, the organization, the coaches, the players. Those have been positive and productive. We believe in order to be successful on and off the field, you have to make good decisions. That includes me. That starts with me. We never want our actions to negatively affect the team. We never want to be the cause of a distraction. And those are comments and questions that I've answered for the team and with the team. We'll keep those private and, to ourselves. I care deeply about this football team, and I'm excited to coach them. I also know that I'm going to attack each day with humility and focus. And what I can promise you is that my family, this organization, the team, the staff, the coaches, everybody, our fans, most importantly, will get the best version of me going forward. And that's what I know, and I'm excited to do that. But I wanted to just address this and thank you for your patience in dealing with the private and personal matter. Thank you.
Process yesterday. Again, less than accountable, less than transparent.
For sure.
So you can weigh back in on that. Go back to anything that we've hit on last night. All the Celtics, Red Sox, Bruins, all on the table. Larry and Andover's been waiting patiently on this. Go ahead, Larry.
I'm at attention now, guys. I'm not following.
Okay, your phone is sort of crapping out, though. But thank you for paying attention. I'll come back to you. Ed in Rhode Island on the Red Sox. Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, hi. At this pace, they're projected to go 64 and 98, so two losses away from 100 losses. This would probably make them one of the worst teams since pre-1967. Maz, you probably vouch for that. And I don't know, the pitching is bad and unreliable. The hitting is awful. And I pay money to watch this team. It makes me angry.
I can feel the anger emanating out of your voice.
It sounds like it. Yeah, no, I don't know how he stays up at night.
I don't know if we need to do
sleeps.
Historical worst Red Sox teams. Here's the only thing I care about. Last year was a perfect opportunity to be like, okay.
You build off it.
Bingo. You get better off of last year.
Sure.
You have good youth. You have money to spend.
Yep.
You've turned things around for the first time in a couple of years. Yes, last year should have been this natural stepping stone kind of season. Instead, they flatlined or maybe got a little worse.
Yep, I think they got worse. I do. And this is after saying that they couldn't stand by. Brezzo said something to the effect of, we can't just sit here and assume that people are going to get better. And yet that's exactly what they did. They pretty much just stood there and expected their young guys to get better and carry the team. And they're not ready yet, obviously.
Chris in Arizona on yesterday at Gillette. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I just think that hi guys. I just think that the media is so as full of crap as the Patriots are. I know what the Patriots do. I expected stuff like that from them. But are you going to tell me guys like Bedard, Perry, Curran, all these guys have been around a long time? They all said last week, well, Vrabel can't address this on Thursday because it's going to take away from the draft. So the only opportunity would have been yesterday. You're not going to bring yourself to go there just in case. Listen, the Patriots did the media a favor just like the media did them a favor. That statement that was put out, they're all in bed together because that statement was put out to help them too. Well, so that now they can say, hey, they said we weren't going to have anybody there. That's why we didn't go. It bailed them out. It's ridiculous. And Maz, just really quick, if you're this outraged, like you just said in a couple of segments ago at the Celtics media and all that, do us a favor as listeners. The next time somebody's sitting next to you, from them, from any of these guys that are there or on the TV with you, Mike, why don't you ask them that question? Hey, guys, what's the story? Be transparent. At least Zolak was transparent and said, I like my job. I don't want to lose it.
I browbeat Bert every time he's on TV with me to tell me what he knows. I don't know what you're talking about on that. But your other point about it protected the guys from not having to go down there and be the bad guy in front of Vrabel, there's some truth to that.
Sure.
Yeah, maybe some of those guys want a good relationship with Vrabel and are thankful that they didn't have to be the bad guy yesterday. Maybe. That's not an unfair thing to bring up, but don't act like the guys and women down there didn't do their jobs. I just detailed to you.
No, they did. They asked anyway.
The team told them no questions about Rossini, and Karen immediately asked a question about Rossini. And then Roach, Yang, Giardi, they all followed up.
Yep.
So
you're right. You're right about that.
Don't act like the Patriots media is all soft or compliant like the Celtics media. No, the folks down there did their job, and I would like to think even the guys that weren't there, even if they're secretly saying, "Phew, thank God I dodged that one," would have felt compelled to do it as well. I think the Patriots media contingent is by far the last remaining bastion of reporters that actually go down there and challenge these guys. The last we got. So I don't totally feel you on the Patriots thing. I don't think the Patriots media is a bunch of frauds.
Well, look, I know we don't necessarily need to get on this road. I used to find press conferences to be borderline useless.
Sure.
Okay. So I would go around and ask stuff on my own off the press conferences, away from the press conferences. Because first of all, I knew they weren't going to answer it publicly. And secondly, I didn't want to share the information. So that was my attitude. If people are doing that down there, that's fine too. Whatever. I'll always allow for that. You can expect the teams to, and I say you meaning the caller, you can expect the teams to try to control you. I think there's a line there of going too far. They cannot tell us what to do. And if you listen to them, then shame on you. That part I agree with. I do get agitated about this for lots of reasons. But
I just expect PR guys to be PR guys.
I know. I expect them to be a little bit more understanding of what our jobs are.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to understand what their jobs are, but they're not supposed to understand ours. So the point of don't ask. You can't ask this. F off. I'll ask whatever I want.
And that's what they did yesterday.
I agree.
So I think everyone did their job.
I agree. I think to ask is stepping over the line.
Yeah. And it's one thing, like
I don't tell them to tell us the entire truth here publicly.
But we're not on equal footing. It's like that we're not on the same floor. You know what I mean? We're gum on the bottom of their shoe.
I understand.
So I just accept that. But that doesn't, I don't work for them, so I don't have to ask what they want or say what they want.
Thankfully, you have that approach.
Unless I covered the Celtics, then I would just do whatever the coach browbeat me into doing.
But I see, to me, that is pressuring the media. That there's an inherent threat there that if you ask, we'll be mad and there will be some price to pay.
I think what's the worst is where the fans get on the media that are critical of the team.
Agreed.
I think the present media are as leery of that as they are the team.
You can't ask this. Well, why not? What's going to happen if I do?
Apparently nothing to these guys, unless they've banned Karen from the stadium, which I doubt.
No, I doubt that too.
Here's Murray's update, and we're right back.
Felger.
Shush.
Maz. The Sports Hub.
It's not that bad of a hit. I mean, you can't go for the knee, but he got him on the hip. It's not that bad. I mean, I understand why Buffalo's doing what they're doing.
Sure.
But it looked a little worse than it was. If you go with the knees, that's one thing.
Right. Yeah,
but it looked like he caught him like thigh.
Yeah.
Thigh hip. The refs are talking about it right now, but I mean, in the replay that I saw, in the angle that I saw, Buffalo's doing exactly what they should be doing, but I can see why they called McAvoy for the penalty. For the original penalty.
Right.
I thought it actually looked a little bit worse than it was.
Well, in real time,
yes,
it looked like something, yeah.
And the arm came up right away.
Yep.
That wonderful bleep show of a third period last night. I say wonderful, like all the fisticuffs and all the scrums and all of it, was really started by a hit by Charlie McAvoy on Beck Melanston. And I'm begging someone to tell me how to pronounce the name properly so I don't just keep doing this. Please.
Malenstein.
Are you sure it's Malenstein?
It's Malenstein. That's what they said last night on the broadcast.
Beck Malenstein. Was a low bridge hit on Beck Malenstein that I thought was clearly dirty, clearly below the line, and got the Sabres incensed, rightfully so. But thus began kind of a yard sale of a third period where you had that led to sort of a 5-on-5 scrum, and I think it was Kastelik that actually dropped the gloves and fought. And then there was another sequence after a scrum in front of Jeremy Swayman where Zadorov dropped a guy, and that started another 5-on-5 scrum that got Tage Thompson, their best player, a 10-minute misconduct. So my overall thing, and it's good news for the Bruins, is that all this quote-unquote nonsense is playing into your hands because I think Buffalo's the faster, more skilled team, and anytime they take away from skating around you and devote it to trying to prove they're as tough as you is a win for you. And not that you're that much tougher or bigger. I just want to say this again. Like, I don't think you have some sort of big edge in toughness. I think they got a bunch of guys that are physical and tough and scrappy just like you. No one's as big as Zadorov, but after you get past that, I don't know if you're bigger than them. So I don't think you're any bigger or tougher. I just think they're faster and more skilled. So if they get sucked down into that nonsense of trying to prove they're tough and physical, good, that's a win for you, and I think that helped you last night. And I think that the McAvoy hit started it. I'm kind of surprised there's been no sort of fallout. You know, the Sabres didn't really say anything about it last night that I could tell. It sparked a scrum during the game, but it's not being looked at by the league or anything like that. And while I say I think it was dirty and below the line, I think it's probably the way that Charlie McAvoy has to play because he's not going to play with a great amount of skill. I think we know this by now. I think McAvoy has established what he is. He is not going to be that top skilled defenseman that you might have hoped. He's just not.
Good player, not a great one.
Right. He's just not going to be in that tier of certainly guys like Makar or at their height, guys like Drew Doughty or Victor Hedman, or as much as we wanted it, or he was being paid like that to be, or even Rasmus Dahlin. He's not that quality. He's not that skill. So you got to do other things. And I think him playing on the line is where he has to be. And so I think it's overall good for the Bruins. I found it surprising that Beers gave him a break on it. Brickley on the TV broadcast did not. Brickley on the TV broadcast immediately said, I actually wrote it down. Definitely a low bridge hit. You have to go higher than that. And I agree 100% with Brickley. And it was set up. Malenstein ran McAvoy just not 10 seconds before. Gave him a really good shot out on the blue line from behind, kind of sent him into the boards a little bit. Not really a dirty hit, just maybe a skosh late and near the boards, and it really rocked McAvoy. So he was pissed. He was feeling it. And then he saw Malenstein come back around down the boards and saw a chance. But instead of doing what all these other defensemen have done this series, which I've seen Dahlin do this series, Samuelsson do this series, Zadorov do this series, where the puck's down at the guy's skate and he's along the boards, just rock his world up high. McAvoy went low, which is dirty. And Brickley called it right out. Definitely a low bridge hit. You have to go higher than that. I went to the ESPN broadcast to see what they would say. It took them forever to get around to it. Such a suck-ass broadcast. We need Canadian broadcasters. No one really went back and covered that first hit on Malenstein on McAvoy. But when ESPN got around to it, they brought on the ever-useless Dave Jackson, their referee expert. Go ahead.
As we bring in our rules expert, Dave Jackson, what'd you think of the initial hit from Charlie McAvoy?
I didn't like the hit. I believe they called it tripping. I think I would have called it clipping. When he low-bridged him, he went down, across the thighs. Definitely a penalty. I'm glad they caught that. And then what happened afterwards, obviously, there's going to be a response.
So once he gets down below the hips, Jax, you're saying that's a penalty pretty much every time, right?
Yes, I'm saying that it's normally called clipping, but tripping will do it too. It becomes semantics.
My point.
It was a low hit.
Yeah, my point, Jax, is if he makes the hit and it stays up around hip level of Malenstein, it's probably okay, correct?
That's right. Anywhere along the belt line's fine. You get below the belt line, you're in real danger of taking a penalty there.
Malenstein. So he's talking penalty. I'm talking supplemental discipline.
Yeah, right.
Which, it hasn't risen to that level. I thought it might have. I thought he was close. But either way, that was a Brad Marchand special, that play last night.
Yeah, remember that one? Who did that? That was against...
He did it several times.
Years ago.
Yeah, Sammy Salo.
Yeah, Salo's the one I remember.
Sammy Salo.
Very good memory.
Vancouver. He had a couple of them. He was a low bridge expert, that little rat. So it was kind of a ratty play by McAvoy. But this is what we're getting now. We're sort of getting a tit for tat and a back and forth, which is good. It's good for you, and I just want to keep reiterating. I think it's good for you not because you're bigger and tougher, but because they're faster and quicker. And if they want to get into that thing, which they apparently do, which I think is just so stupid on their part, if I were them, I would just worry about skating circles around these guys and pressuring them in their own zone. We see how the Bruins respond to pressure in their own zone.
Not well.
Pants crapping special. Panic sandwich. To the point where the goalie has to call the timeout for the coach. Complete panic with the Bruins in their own end. I would just worry about pressuring them in their own end with my speed and my sticks. But if you want to do this thing that we're as tough as you and we're, Marco Sturm baited them before the series, we're the bigger, tougher team, and Lindy Ruff is still talking about it after the game, that's advantage to you. That's working, I guess. So there's a little reset for you on the Bruins. You'll hear that rough comment, and we'll get right back to your phones in our long commercial-free segment next.
Mike and Tony have a definite chemistry.
Are they? 100%.
Are they?
Yes, 100. Do I stutter?
Do you consider them the periodic table of sports talk?
Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Sorry. We need to blow a gasket.
No. Blow it, baby. Blow it.
Felger and Maz.
Do you expect that temperature in the series to kind of go up a little bit between the McAvoy hit and, the Zadorov thing and things like that? Like that maybe they'll try to drag you into more of some of that?
Yeah, well, you heard he said they're bigger and more physical. So, yeah, for sure. I'm a little worried.
Lindy, would it be any possibility?
So that was, again, Ruff being sarcastic. Yeah, I'm concerned about their... So he said they're the bigger, tougher teams. I'm really concerned. He said it with a laugh and then made sure he, verbalized the laugh. So when you're the more skilled team, the faster, more skilled team, why would you worry about being the tougher team? Who cares? The tougher team doesn't win. The better team wins.
Exactly.
Well, like I said earlier, though, it might hit some sort of primal type thing where guys, I'm not tough. I'll show you I'm tough. You don't challenge my tough. Challenge me. It's just something happens there where they really shouldn't worry about it. That's, again, they can do it, but that's not really what they're built for.
I mean, Lindy Ruff is in his 60s now, isn't he?
Sorry to story time. When I covered the Bruins 30 years ago, 1997, and they made the playoffs, they played the Buffalo Sabres, and Lindy Ruff was the coach.
He's 66.
They made, Pat Burns made some sort of weird comment, I think, something like this, where the Bruins won to extend the series, maybe to go back to Buffalo. And Pat Burns said something as innocuous as, we're going to go have some wings. And for some reason, Lindy Ruff, in his press conference, said, I hope he enjoys the wings, eh? Like, took it as some sort of
slight or...
I don't know why.
Wise-ass comment. Yeah.
Yes, and I remember to this day, 30 years later, like a nothing burger. I was like, why is he responding to the wings comment? That was a nothing. It was just sort of a walk-off. Like, let's go get some wings.
Did Lindy Ruff ever win a cup?
No, he's a nothing but not win cups. Huh. It's been Buffalo, Dallas, Jersey, back to Buffalo, right?
Maybe there's a reason he's never won.
I think he's kind of a clown, as evidenced by this. Like, why would you worry about, be bigger and tougher, you big dopes. We're better. Just skate circles around your dumbass.
The fact that
instead it's like you got to go to the point where we're getting Tage Thompson, 10-minute misconducts at the end of the third period of playoff games. You freaking idiots. You know what I mean?
No, I know exactly what you mean. Listen, I was just going to say, when he was a player, my recollection was he was kind of an instigator and a grinder, right?
Yeah.
But he was also like, I don't want to say cheap, but cheap's too strong.
Did Neely once kick the ever-loving crap out of him?
Probably.
Can we Google that quickly?
Probably.
I think he might have.
So I just, part of me, when I heard him engage on this, I went, you got to be kidding me. This guy's like, again, he's 66 now, and he's still taking the cheese? He's still getting, you're not going to question my manhood?
Yeah, 1988. They had a brawl. Let's see.
Yeah, maybe it's left over from that Lindy Ruff is still carrying this thing from when he was a player and Neely beat the bag out of him. Yes, that's right. I'm watching it right now. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is back when they could fight. Oh, God, Neely.
Oh, geez, that uppercut was brutal.
Cocked him.
Oh, yeah, and apparently, I found another story where Nikita Zadorov has watched this and laughed and just loved watching Neely beat the bag out of him.
Maybe this is what it's still. It's like this thing, like
it's leftover.
Leftover Shakespearean kind of thing that he has to prove to the Bruins he's tough because Neely ragdolled him 30 years ago. It's great. They did it great to be back in the playoffs. Mike and Woburn, go ahead, Mike.
So, Mike, you're missing the biggest one here, and it's the Ryan Miller thing. He was the coach for Ryan Miller. Do you remember the complete and utter
when Lucic ran
that happened? When Lucic ran Ryan Miller, do you remember the aftermath where Lindy Ruff basically came out and castigated Paul Gostad, who was he was the furthest guy away from what was going on. Ruff's captain, Jason Pominville, was the closest to Lucic after what happened. And Jason Pominville, watch the video, does a complete save my life U-turn and clutches David Krejci for absolute safety. It was like he was his life preserver, while the rest of the Sabres go in and try to get to Lucic. Poor Paul Gostad was completely scapegoated by Lindy Ruff, and then that proceeded to implode the Sabres franchise because, remember, they traded 70-point Derek Roy for Steve Ott straight up, and then they brought in John Scott on a lifetime contract after this. All because Lindy Ruff couldn't take the fact that his team wasn't tough enough. And by the way, Tage Thompson should know better because early in his career, he got absolutely lobotomized by Kevin Miller in a fight. He's big. He's not tough. They have a problem.
I think Tage Thompson's trying to prove he's tough, which is stupid. Just be good. Don't worry about it. It's a new NHL anyway. You don't got to prove that you're tough. Don't play like an idiot like Pasternak, but you don't have to be tough. Take care of the puck and score. Why do you got to prove that you're tough? Yet he gets thrown out of the game? That's ridiculous. I think the rest of that Buffalo team, they have tough guys. But so what? They also suck. Chad Greenway blows. But he's tough, I guess. But who cares? These fans need to get over this tough thing. It's fun to watch. It's fun to beat a guy up. I mean, I get it. But it doesn't necessarily win. It frankly usually doesn't.
No, I was just going to say it often does not. It is right. The Bruins were victim to this for a long time. They would get baited into stuff and end up making themselves worse as a result of it.
But Lindy Ruff has psychological damage. He's emotionally scarred from his Bruins experiences.
I think I just found this video. I got to watch it. Of
Ryan Miller?
No. Of the Neely Ruff.
Oh, no, he
beats the bag out of him.
Beats the crap out of him.
Neely was a good fighter.
Yeah.
He was a scary fighter.
Lindy Ruff, not so much. All right, here comes a 90-second update, no commercials. Bruins last night, entertaining night of hockey. Celtics last night, not so much. And how concerned are you by that play style? I didn't ask you if you're concerned about the Sixers. I'm asking if you're concerned about how they played last night. If you thought they had outgrown the way they had played, say, last year against the Knicks, you're sorely mistaken because it was kind of a repeat performance The Vrabel fallout continues. And, Maz's Boston Red Sox. That's a fun take right now.
Speaking of which, I have a little announcement off the top of the hour when we come back.
Here comes a Maz Red Sox announcement and your calls after Murray's 90-second update, no commercials.